Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to make the kids Piper Peplum dress by 5 out of 4 patterns, and I'm going to use that pattern to make my daughter's Halloween costume. So my son wants to be a ghost, so I thought it would be cute to make my daughter a ghost also because I can make a super cute dress. So I'm going to use white cotton lycra, and I'm going to use white and silver sparkly tulle to make the skirt. And then I'm going to put a little ghost face on it. So I think it's going to turn out super adorable. At least I hope so. And I think that's it. So if you want to see me sew it up, stick around. Okay, here are our options. We have a peplum length shirt or a dress. The skirt can be a circle skirt with a traditional hem or a handkerchief hem. We have a crew neckband, a hood or a cowl neck, and we have sleeveless, short sleeve, 3/4 length sleeves, or long sleeves. The sleeves can be finished with a band or a cuff, including a thumbhole cuff option. All right, so we have all our pieces here. So we have our front and back bodice, 2 sleeves, the cowl, if you're doing the cowl neck option, and then 2 skirt pieces. This is the handkerchief hem, I believe they call it. So 2 skirt pieces for that. And because I'm doing a costume, I also cut a bunch of tools. So I did in the plain white, I just cut as many skirts as I could get, which ended up to be 6 in the 3-yard cut. And then I also did this gray sparkly color, and I did 3 of those. I don't know if I'm going to use all of these. I just kind of cut them all, and then I just have the top marked here because it's kind of a little bit difficult to see. That's just for myself. And if you're wondering why these are all different shades of white, the camera might not even be picking it up, but they're all different shades of white. It's just because I have a ton of white scraps that I wanted to use up, so I was able to use some of those. So her dress is going to be a few different shades, but nobody's even going to notice that. So to start, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take all of these over to the iron, press them all flat, because as you can tell, they're very wrinkly. And I am also going to go ahead and press in a memory hem on my sleeves. I'll have to check to see what the hem is, but I'm going to hem these in the flat. It's faster, it's easier, and this is not going to be worn a lot since it's just a Halloween costume. So I'm going to go ahead and get that hem pressed up as well. I'll meet you back here for the sewing. All right, so I have all my pieces pressed. I have my sleeve hems pressed up as well. The hem for the sleeves is 1/2 inch. And before I get started with sewing, what I want to do is I want to measure this bodice because I am going to be putting some eyes and a mouth on here for a ghost face. So I just want to measure and see how much room I have. I want to try to get the biggest possible face that I can. So let's see. I'm going to say we have about 11 by 6 to work with. Well, up top it's around 8. So what I'm going to do is I am going to use my Cricut. I am going to go ahead and just quickly pull a face from either Google or their images. And I'm going to cut that out, and I'm going to iron that on here first because it's easier to iron something on when this is flat, you know, rather than a finished garment. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then I'm also going to hem the sleeves, and then I'll be back. Okay, so here we are. We have our face put on. I just think that is adorable. So, step 1 is going to be to put your bodices right sides together at the shoulder seams and sew with a 5/8 inch seam allowance. Wait, I think I'm lying about that. Let me see. Yeah, it's 3/8 inch. Sorry. So 3/8 inch seam allowance. You're going to sew your shoulder seams. Now, step 2 is to sew the side seams. So if you want, what you can do is pin the side seams as well and sew all 4 up at once, but I'm not going to sew the side seams. I am going to put the sleeves in first. So it's up to you what you want to do. All right, so we have our shoulder seam sewn up. Now, one thing to know if you're doing iron-on or embroidery or something like this, you want to make sure to remember to account for the seam allowance. So the seam allowance is 3/8, so you want to make sure that anything you're putting on is more than 3/8 inch away from the edge. And I just made it there. I actually forgot to account for it, so I got lucky this time, but try to keep that in mind if you're going to put any kind of applique or embroidery or anything like that. Okay, so next we're going to do our sleeves. So you want your bodice right sides out, grab your sleeve, and as I said, I already hemmed these. Make sure the back of your sleeve matches your back bodice. The center notch in the sleeve matches up to the shoulder seam. And then pin the rest of the sleeve to the arm side. And sew that on with a 3/8 inch seam allowance. All right. Next, we're going to sew up our sleeve and our side seams. So flip your bodice right sides together and pin all the way down your sleeve and your side seams. Sew that on with a 3/8 inch seam allowance and repeat with the other side. All right, so we have that sewn up. Now we're going to set this aside and work on our skirt. Grab your skirt pieces. And what you're going to do is place them right sides together and sew up the side seams. All right. So then sew that with a 3/8 inch seam allowance and then repeat with your other side seam. All right, don't do what I just did. I sewed up the incorrect side seam. So this is not the side seam. This is the side seam. So you're going to want to pin both of your side seams here together and sew those. And I'm going to go ahead and seam rip that. So I'll be back. All right. So I seam ripped that and sewed it the correct way. And now we're going to go ahead and attach it. So grab your bodice. You can do this with your bodice right sides out or wrong sides out, it doesn't matter. You just want to make sure that your right sides are together when you're attaching your skirt. For my tulle skirts, I just went ahead and ran a straight stitch along the side seams with my sewing machine. I figured that was a little bit a little bit more invisible than a serger stitch. So I did all of my tulle skirts. I sewed those up with the straight stitch on the side seams. And if you're wondering, this sparkly one, the glitter is literally everywhere. So use that at your own risk. Okay, so we have our bodice, and what we're going to do is just slip our skirt basically over the bodice, match up the skirt side seams to the bodice side seams. Okay, I'm back because I made a mistake. So glad I realized it before I sewed that skirt on. So if I sewed it on right now, the dress would look like this, but I actually need to put the tulle skirts on first because I want them to be over the white skirt. So lots of mistakes today, but that's okay. That's life, right? So let me remove my skirt here. So that white skirt is going to have to go on last. All right. So, let's see. I think if I just put them maybe like inside of each other, that might kind of be the best way to go with this. Let's see. This tool is like very finicky to work with, so. And when I sewed these up on the sewing machine, I did not by any means make it perfect. I just zipped them up really fast. So they're definitely like really uneven, but that's okay. So I want the first layer on top to be a white layer. I kind of want like the sparkles to be in the middle. So I'm just putting all of these inside of each other. And I'm going to make sure to do the white layer last because that's going to be what is going to be on top. This is not going to be fun to pin together because I'm going to have to make sure all the layers are matching up. All right, so now I have them inside of each other. I'm going to start by finding all of the side seams and pinning those together. And right now these are wrong sides out. This is kind of tedious, but it's one of those things, once you get it done, it's a big payoff because it's going to be super cute. Then what I'm going to do is just go ahead and pin around this just to get all the layers together, and then I'm going to add my bodice. All right, so I have that all pinned together, and it's already wrong sides out, so now I need to just basically slip it over my bodice. Match up my side seams. Okay, now go ahead and sew that up with a 3/8 inch seam allowance. Okay, we have that sewn on. I'm going to leave it like this and just slip the skirt right over that. Make sure my right sides are inside. Once again, matching up my side seams. Man, I would not want to sew poofy dresses like this all the time. It's just so finicky. Okay, sew that on with a 3/8 inch seam allowance. Okay, time for the big reveal. Shake it out here. Oh my gosh. So adorable. It's poofier than I imagined too. I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Okay, we're almost done. Last step is the cowl. I chose a cowl because it's cold here during Halloween. So actually, let me go ahead and grab the universal cleaner, at least if you're mom, because I don't know if you could see this or not, but there is literally glitter everywhere from that tool. Okay, that's a little bit better. All right, so we grab our cowl pieces, and it says to fold them right sides together and then sew down the back with a stretch stitch. And the back is this right here. So I'm going to go ahead and pin that together. I'm going to do that with both pieces and sew both of those with a 3/8 inch seam allowance. Okay. Once you have those sewn up, what you're going to do is take one and place it right sides out. And then I'm just trying to make sure I keep these straight because the shape is a little bit awkward. You're going to put one inside the other so that they are right sides together. And you're going to sew around the top. The top is this longer piece. And I'll show you once I get it all pinned together. Okay, so here's your piece. And as I said, the top is the larger side. So you're going to sew those two pieces together with a 3/8 inch seam allowance. All right. So we have that sewn together. Next, you're going to turn it right sides out and press it. I'm just going to give it a quick finger press here. Okay. Then you're going to grab your dress. Ugh, I hate that these sleeves are a different colorway. I could really tell. But that's okay. All right. So then you're going to place your cowl over the neckline, right sides together. So I want this whiter fabric to be my outside. That's the side that's going to show. And the seam in your cowl is going to match up with the center back of your back bodice. So let me just throw a clip there. And you're going to slip it over so that the raw edges match up. Pin that seam in the cowl to the center back, and then pin around the rest of the way. Let me backtrack on that. It says to quarter it, and I am going to quarter it because it is a little bit smaller than the neckline. So I want to make sure that when I'm sewing it on, I'm stretching it evenly. So just quartering it really quickly. And now I'm going to go ahead and match up those quarter points. Okay, go ahead and sew that on with the 3/8 inch seam allowance, just stretching the cowl slightly to fit. All right, that's it. I did forget to mention that the tutorial obviously goes over the hemming. Hemming, the handkerchief hem is a little bit different than standard, but you all know I'm not going to hem, especially for a costume that's only going to be worn a couple times. All right, so fold up your cowl, and the way it's going to be worn is kind of folded down like this. So I probably actually should have put the whiter part on the outside, but it's fine. All right, and that's it. I have to finish off some of these threads, but there it is. I am absolutely in love. I think this might be one of my favorite things that I've ever made. It just turned out so stinking cute. I love it. All right. Thank you all for sewing along with me. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you'd like to see me sew up next. And as always, thank you for watching.